we are giving money, and I'm talking for all the lotteries, to some special, like hospitals maybe to improve things, studies on new medications, for example. So, I mean, we are giving jobs to doctors by doing this.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the O Millionaire podcast. With us, we have our lottery expert, Mr. Rav C. Martin, with 30 years of experience in the industry. He is one of the only three lotto game designers in the world, and he is here with us to share insights about O Millionaire and the green initiative behind it, Oasis Park.
Hello, Maradona. It's great to be here this week, and
Great to have you back.
yeah, and it's always wonderful to sit with you and answering questions. I mean, we are receiving or you are having
Yes.
or somebody else has.
Well,
So let's see what's up today.
yeah, we have a very interesting question from one of our viewers is what are the economic impact of lotteries?
That's a really, really interesting question, and it's I mean, we can spend hours to talk about this actually. But like it's the when you look at the industry, for example, the lottery industry, then it's a very it's even bigger than gambling. And like I always talk about, like lotteries is not like gambling,
Sure,
and
there's
not
a
like
clear difference between the
yes.
two.
And the main, I always say, like the main differences are, like, for one, the lotteries, you cannot really get addicted to lotteries because
Yes.
it's not entertaining, right? I mean, you buy a ticket and stuff like that, and then you either win or you don't.
Yeah.
But then also, so addiction and entertainment is like part of the gambling industry. Second part is like that the industry is usually regulated. Even a Millionaire has the certificates, of course, like doing this, and is regulated by some authorities. This is really important because there are so many small things going on, and not really, especially online. And also, like, lotteries always have a good cause, no matter what it is. So saying that, the the people have to understand actually that the lottery industry or sales of lottery tickets exceeds $300 billion each year.
$300
$100 billion.
billion.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing. And obviously, the main markets, when you look at the main markets, is like the US, of course, then it's Europe and China. These are these are countries where the lotteries are established, actually. As I said, regulated, of course, but these are the main countries. Now, when it comes to the impact in the economy, and you have like 300 billion to share, like worldwide, then you can imagine that that there is like a lot of jobs behind it, for example. And let's start with this. If you're starting, or if a lottery operation, I mean, the people that are really directly involved, then you have like people in the management. You have like people. I mean, I always say like starting from the cleaners to the top management, right? People that are directly involved, and these can be like hundreds of people in the main headquarters, for example. When an estimate of people directly involved worldwide is more than 1.5 million people, roundabout. And then we have thousands of people, millions of people actually, that are involved in additional industries. If you just a couple of numbers, I mean, the people, like in Germany, like, I mean, we know that there are like more than 10,000 people are like directly involved in the lottery companies in Germany. But there are like more than 20,000 lottery outlets. O Millionaire is only an online lottery right now, right? But this lottery is like a national lottery, and it's like you can buy tickets like at kiosk or even like supermarket cashiers or gas stations. So, I mean, obviously, if you have like 20,000 outlets and maybe 2 shifts, like you have at least another 40,000 people working for the industry.
Wow.
Some kiosks in England, for example, it's a really big issue, of course, like, I mean, the UK lottery, Camelot, they have like, I mean, a kiosk is making 30% of his profit just from the lottery, selling the lottery tickets. And again, we are not talking about gambling. We are still talking about lotteries,
only
right?
about lottery.
So the income we are having is like spent like obviously on salaries, and then like people are really involved in it, and then commissions, for example, for the kiosk. Then we are having like all the supporting industry. I mean, if you think about it, if you do an ad in a newspaper, so basically you are paying for journalists, you are paying for the graphic guys, you are paying for the printing the newspaper even, or you are talking about the graphic guys if it's just an online paper, whatever. It's really huge when you add all this up, and obviously a lottery has like an IT team.
Yes.
Like Millionaire has an IT team, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, we have these people. Then we have like all the people like working in customer relationship, for example, or our hotlines, for example. It's just and like, and we are a global lottery, obviously, since we are not just based somewhere. It's like a green lottery, and then saying that I want to go like to, like we are paying out winnings, right? I mean, lotteries usually pay about something between 45 and up to 70% from the income is going back to the winners.
Okay.
With us, it's around 55% with our Millionaire, which is pretty good. In average, it's like 50%. But I mean, giving this money to the people is another economy boost. Because if you are winning the jackpot, well, in our case, if you just even win the second prize, which is 500,000 dirhams, I mean, we talk to winners, right? And they are building their own businesses.
Yeah.
If you have like, I mean, so it starts going back into the economy, and they can never start it if without this. Taxes. Obviously, we have to pay taxes, and not just us, but I mean, every lottery. So the government is making money out of the taxes, and that obviously that helps them to finance like all, like the necessary stuff in a society, in a city or country, whatever it is. But it brings money on to the government as well. And then we have like one of the big stuff is like the good causes. Lotteries, compared to gambling, used or is having lotteries in comparison to gambling always has a good cause. It can be healthcare, it can be education. Again, Millionaire is having like the environmental programs. But this means we are giving money, and I'm talking for all the lotteries, to some special, like hospitals maybe to improve things, studies on new medications, for example. So, I mean, we are giving jobs to doctors by doing this. We are giving jobs to schools if we improve the schools. Sometimes we are just buying like computers for schools. We are giving education. So all this kind of thing has always an impact. And like, I mean, if I cannot buy a computer, because the computer is providing jobs again to the computer manufacturers, right? So all this is connected. And if you're looking in our own Millionaire program, you remember we are funding the Oasis Park project.
Yes.
And I'm not quite sure, you are probably more familiar with it, how many trees we have already?
65,000.
Yeah,
65,000.
65,000, around 65,000 trees. So that means we are really having like this Oasis Park. We make the Oasis Park happen. But then you need people that, first of all, greeneries to get, like to basically to plant the seeds.
Yeah, plant water.
Then you need like water. You need people to plant the trees in the fields or in the mountains or on grassland or in our case like in the desert. And And then, of course, the maintenance of the trees. So you see that like all this has is a major thing that is like is important actually for countries.
Yeah, I mean, never thought of it as this huge ripple effect, uh, that it doesn't just stop at one point. It continues even if somebody is winning, he's buying a house, investing in business.
Another really interesting fact is, for example, that the Irish lottery, for example, they are. I mean, and Ireland is not that big of a country, I would say, but they are supporting or they funded more than 2,000 organizations and companies in the country, and more than 30,000 projects.
Wow.
I mean, no other company is doing that, right? So I think it's really interesting to understand that what this industry has, what the impact of this industry is. And let me add something for the GCC, for example. Obviously, the GCC countries, the lotteries are not allowed, or we have like some special, like laws to be Sharia compliant and these kind of things. But we also have like draws which relates to lotteries, let's say. And this is, for example, a lot of times for people to encourage to spend money in the shopping malls, even like to get tourism to the countries, to make it interesting. And this is also has like an impact to the industry, and people are spending money. And maybe like when you're looking at lotteries and gambling and stuff like that, I mean, when it comes to lotteries, the money stays usually in the country. I mean, most of the time, it's like the residents are spending the money in the country. So it comes directly towards the economy in the country. While when you're talking about gambling and having like, for example, casinos, and if you go to Macau or like Las Vegas, one of the major places, right? Then you get the money outside. It's coming from outside the country.
True.
And it's coming, and because people are traveling there. And yes, they're not just spending for the hotel, but they are spending probably millions and billions on the roulette tables, So again, it's for entertainment. But then it's coming back. The money that these companies are making is not based or is not focused to spend on social causes. I mean, these are money-making companies, billion-dollar companies. It's okay. I mean, it's nothing wrong with it. But lotteries have a much more sincere meaning behind it. And I think, again, that's important to know about lotteries.
Pretty interesting to know these facts about the economic impact. And I mean, never thought of it in this way. And do you think it'll increase every year?
Well, I believe I believe lotteries are something good, because it helps people to dream, and it helps people like have these dreams, having this hope basically. So a lottery ticket usually is not that expensive. So but it's good to know that, I mean, like you're supporting not just even you are not winning, you're supporting the economy, you're supporting your neighborhood maybe, even like if somebody starts like like if we build a school, for example, if a lottery is like paying for the school, that's good for the neighborhood, of course, and it's giving jobs, as I said before, right? This is and the lottery industry is supposed to grow. The numbers are estimated that there is a growth up to 2030 of another 7%.
Okay.
And if we are already at 300, whatever, 10 billion or 14 billion, 314 billion, I believe it was like 2 years ago. So yes, it's growing. And the lottery industry is, of course, like giving money to charities and all this kind of stuff. I believe, if my memory is still okay, that in the UK, for example, since the lottery started, and they are investing a lot in education and healthcare, they spend about 54 billion US dollars or 57 even billion dollars since then in these good cause.
Wow.
And like, I mean, if you want to make this in taxes, for example, if the government says like I take over, it's not possible. Or your private taxes or business taxes are going up big time. So I believe that people need to understand that it's not just seeing, like, I mean, let's say you on stage, and then there are probably, they believe, oh, there are just a couple of computer freaks, like doing the internet stuff. No, it's much more. I mean, we are spending, the industry is spending so much money on advertising. So everything is going to be paying, like for the Google stuff. We are paying for the Facebook things. There are always managers and hosts and people and IT people behind it. TikTok, whatever you name it. I mean, nothing is for free, right?
True.
So this is basically, again, like supporting these kind of industries as well. Africa, for example. I mean, this is like a very large country, but the lottery is not very famous. They are more like in sports betting, interesting enough, but it's growing. And for these countries, I mean, like it's good if you are, let's say, like you are selling the lottery tickets in on your gas station, and think about that. If you are selling a lottery ticket, and I'm always trying to be creative when you think like this, but selling a lottery ticket, you are coming because you want to buy a lottery ticket to the gas station. I mean, maybe you don't even have a car, but I mean, then you see like, oh, let's get some Mars bars, or let's get some energy drink or whatever, or Coke or whatever you're doing. You're like, I mean, you're buying things. It drives people, and then if you're there, you probably get another consumer good. Like, I mean, and you take it with you. So again, this brings again more business to your store. I believe it's really important, and the industry is much bigger than everybody sees it. I mean, and you always think like, oh, come on. I mean, that's so simple. I mean, you have a host, you have a draw, you have a winner, finish, right?
It's not just that.
No, it's huge. That has a really, really huge impact.
Wow. Well, there you have it. Some beautiful insights on the economic impact of lotteries and the effect that it has and the ripple effect that it has. The buck just does not stop there, of how families are affected, governments, charities, good causes. And yeah, if you have any other interesting questions like this, feel free to write to us, and Mr. Ralph will be more than happy to answer them.
Yes.
Till then, stay tuned for the next episode of the O Millionaire podcast.
And as we always say, you can't
win
win if you don't play.